everyone. So in today's video, I wanted to talk about my favorite books that I read this year. I read a lot of really good books actually, and of course a lot of duds, but I want to talk about my favorites of this year. To keep them kind of categorized, I think most of them are young adult books, so young adult fiction. So yeah, let's just jump right into it. So a new favorite author of mine this year would definitely be Karen M. McManus. I read a lot of her books this year and I loved all of them. They were all 5 and 4 stars. So the first book that I read by her that I really enjoyed was One of Us is Lying, which is a really well done murder mystery book. It follows 5 people who get detention, and one is an outcast that nobody likes because he runs a blog about everybody in school, like the rumors that pop up and stuff, and he's kind of in everybody's business, so nobody really likes him, and he ends up dying. So who did it? And it's basically the whole book is trying to figure out what happened, who killed him and why, and was it because of the blog or something else. Everybody in the room is a suspect. All kinds of like dirty secrets become uncovered, and there's a lot of twists and turns, so many things you don't see coming, and it's just a really fun time. And I also read One of Us is Next, which is the second book, and also really well done. I don't want to talk too much about that one. If you haven't read the first one, like kind of reading the information or knowing what it's about would probably ruin a lot of it. So if you like the sounds of the first one, you'd definitely enjoy the second one too. I also read Two Can Keep a Secret. It's about 2 fraternal twins who go to live in their mom's hometown, where her sister had went missing 17 years before, but her mom never talks about it because it's too painful, so they don't know anything about the aunt. They don't really know their grandmother they're about to live with because her mom never wants to go back to the town that she was from and where it happened and everything. So while they're there, like they had just arrived and another girl goes missing, way that their aunt that they never met did. It's basically like history repeating itself, and then where the original girl twin sister's kids are back in town and it happens again. It just seems like really weird and stuff. So the entire town is full of secrets, and the twins start to unravel basically like what's going on, what's weird about the town and stuff. So another like, you know, mystery. It really just keeps your interest, and I really enjoyed it. Like I just find them so fun, and I find them so easy to read. They're so quick to get through because you want to know like what's happening and what comes next. It's fun to guess what you think might happen next. I have a pattern of what kind of books that I like to read. And then I also read The Cousin. So this is about 3 cousins who don't really know each other either, because all of their parents had got disinherited by their mom, and none of them ever knew why. And then all of the grandkids got letters from her to come visit her, which is really weird because like they had been disinherited like 20 years before or something like that. So there's like tons of family secrets that they find out, like lots of twists and turns you really don't see coming. And again, just like a really good time. Just like you really want to get through it, you really want to like know what's happening. And it's just like, it's like a movie in your mind. Well duh, books are like movies in your mind. All right, and then another book that's kind of similar to all of those young adult like mystery fiction books is Good Girl Bad Blood. I read the first one last year, so I can't really include that for this video, but this one is by Holly Jackson. Yeah, this is the second book to A Good Girl's Guide to Murder, which was really in the same vein as all of the Karen M. McManus books, just very uncovering secrets, finding out the truth. I don't really want to say too much because I don't want to ruin the first book if you haven't read it. The first book is about a girl who does a school project about a local murder that happened, but she doesn't really believe what the official verdict is true, so she wants to dig deeper and find out to see if there's any truth to it, or if there's been a lot of like lies and deceptions in this case. So we kind of follow her and it gets intense, and then this is the second book as a third one coming out, and I'm so excited. I definitely want to read that really soon. So now I guess I'll move on to manga, which this is like my first year of really getting into manga. I think I read one manga last year, but I was kind of like, it's okay. But this year I discovered Junji Ito, and amazing. I can't believe I had never heard of him before or ever read him before. I'm like, but I know about him now, and that's all that matters. If you're a horror fan, you really should give it a try. It's amazing. Like, the things that he comes up with is just like, I'll tell you the books that I read and then we'll start talking. This year, the collections that I read that were my favorites were Smashed, Fragments of Horror, and Venus in the Blind Spot. If you're a horror fan, like, you just should really give them a try. Like, they're so unique. The ideas that he comes up with are just absolutely astounding and breathtaking and creative, and I love all of them. I mean, I don't think there's been a single book of his that I've read that I didn't like. If you were gonna only try one, I would go between Fragments of Horror and Venus in the Blind Spot. Like, they're probably a really good spot to start. I mean, I guess why not? But they're all, it's like short story collections, so it doesn't like specifically matter. It's not one whole story, so I mean, you can kind of like get a taste of like all of his little short stories, so it's fun. If you don't like horror, or you don't want to try reading anything horror by him, but you're a cat lover, I've always had cats like my whole life growing up, so it's just so funny and relatable, and it was so cute, and I was actually laughing, like I was cackling the whole time when I was reading it. I fell in love with that book. It's just, it gives you all the like fuzzy feels, and it makes you like want to like hug your own cats, and it's just really cute. Like, you should give that one a try if you're not really into horror, but maybe you want to try manga, or you're curious to read something by Junji Ito that's not horror in general, but it's just, oh my gosh, it's probably my favorite. Oh, so another author that I really got into this year is Simone St. I read last year The Sundown Motel, I believe it was called, and it was so good, and I needed to read more by her, but I read that towards the end of the year last year, I think. So that's why, like, this year I just kind of continued reading her, and that was also a really good book. So yeah, she is in the same vein as Karen McManus and Holly Jackson. The books that I read this year that I really loved were An Inquiry into Love and Death, The Broken Girls, and The Haunting of Maddy Clare, with the standout being The Broken Girls. She did the same narrative as The Sundown Motel, which is like half in the past, half in the present, which I actually really like. I like movies like that as well, so it's really cool because it's like you can know what happened, what people are curious about in the future. You know what happened because of like the flashbacks or like the new narrative. I just find it really interesting, and it really keeps my interest, and it's almost like reading like two books in one. Yeah, so, and all of these books, basically they're all like very similar. So if you like one, and if you like to continue reading books that you know are gonna be quite similar, she's perfect for you, because they are all like murder, mystery, history, side romances usually, and they all have very strong-willed women, which I really enjoy. Most of her books happen in like the early 1900s, or a couple of them do anyway, so it's just nice to see strong, young, independent women portrayed in books, like in general, but especially like in the past. It's cool. Now, one book that I absolutely adored, and I wish it was like 500 pages longer, I wish it never ended, I wish there was like 10 books in this series, because I mean, it's just like, I don't know how to even describe what it's called. It's just like, it's almost like comic book. There's like a beautiful illustration on each page, and it follows a vampire and a werewolf, and the cute banter between the two of them, and it just like focuses on them being creatures of the night, and like funny little anecdotes that, you know, if you know about the typical vampire and the typical werewolf, like it just kind of like pokes fun, but like, yeah, in like a bantery kind of way. Like, it's so fun, and it's so cute. I mean, you can read it in probably like 10 minutes, but it's just a beautiful book, and I absolutely love it. And that is by Sarah Andersen. And yeah, I've got to see what more she's got going on, because that was amazing, and I definitely want to own it. None of these, I don't own any of these books. I really utilized the library during quarantine this year, so, which I never used to do. Like, I was strictly like, I've got to own it. I don't want to read a book unless I own it. Like, I don't know why, like what the heck, no. And then this way, like I can just own the books that I know that I love, because I just unhauled so many books, it's disgusting. So I want to stop buying books that I don't know anything about, just in case if they're trash. And then if they are amazing, then I'll buy them then. Now, a book, or a kind of book that I never thought that I would ever read, is Normal People by Sally Rooney, which is like a young adult contemporary novel. I decided to read it because Sally Rooney was all over Instagram, and I'm just like, okay, what is this all about? Like, I've never heard of her. What is this? Like, okay, she's got a new book coming out. But I did see a few people talk about Normal People, like I don't even know when, like a long time ago, and I never really paid it any mind. Like I just kind of am like, I know what I like to read and it's not that, and I like horror or mystery, or you know, something to like really keep my interest, and like stuff happening and fantasy and action and like whatever. Don't do that to yourself. Oh, don't do that to yourself. I did that, and I'm not going to do that anymore, because I actually really quite enjoyed it. It really gave me like teenager writing fanfic, reading fan fiction vibes. Like that's literally what I felt like I was reading. It was like a fan fiction, you know what I mean? Like when you're a teenager and you're reading all this like stuff on the internet that people write at home. Like, I mean, it's obviously way better and like way amazing, but it's like an adult made fan fiction. It's like the vibes that it gave. So I don't know if that's why I really enjoyed it or what, but it just gave me all like the nostalgic high school reading fan fiction feel. Like it's just like really angsty, and it's like angst on top of angst, and it's just like it's more angsty, and you're like, and you just like, you can't wait to like find out what's gonna happen next. So now I really want to actually read some more books by Sally Rooney. She has a book that just came out this year, I believe, like Beautiful World, Where Are You, or something like that. So I'm really interested to read some more books by her now. So, yeah, I mean, if that sounds like something that you're into, I would definitely give it a try. Or even if it's not something it sounds like you'd like, it doesn't hurt to try. You can always like DNF it, right? And last but not least, if you feel like reading a heartwarming, really cute, adorable book, this is it. It's really wholesome. It really gives me, I haven't read the book yet, but it gives me vibes of the movie. What was that called? Peculiar Children, right? It reminds me of that movie. I mean, I haven't read the book. It reminds me of that movie, and the movie was okay, but it's like, this book is even better, way better. So like it kind of deals with like magical creatures, magical beings, a social worker who actually cares about the kids and wants what's best for all of the kids, like the magical creatures. So LGBTQIA plus representation in this, which is just also really cute. Like we love to see it. So the social worker has to see if the headmaster is fit to be doing his job, and if he is doing a good job, because he has children who are like, they're gonna stay children for a really long time because of the magical creature that they happen to be. He gets attached to the kids, he gets attached to the headmaster. It was just a really fluffy read. So yeah, those were all of my favorite reads of the year. So I hoped some of those might have sounded interesting to you, or you might want to give some of those a try for yourself. Let me know what your favorite books that you've read. It doesn't even have to be from this year, just, you know, some of your favorite books. Like, I'm always open to suggestions, and I love hearing what other people like. And I feel like I'm opening up to more genres other than just like horror, mystery, and thriller, which is nice. If you watch this video, thank you so much, and I will see you in my next one.